It's been raining throughout the day here in the Twin Cities. The weather has not been pleasant in the Midwest over the weekend, but fans here in Minneapolis are hoping the T-Wolves will lift their spirits and get back into the series. Tonight at the Target Center, it's Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. The Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. The winner of this best-of-7 will advance to the NBA Finals. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albin, along with the Czar, Mike Fratello, Doug Collins. Now, the big story going into tonight's game, the physical status of Minnesota point guard Sam Cassell, who sat out the final 13 and a half minutes of game number 1. As Cheryl Miller reported earlier on the pregame, Sam will give it a shot. He will be in the starting lineup. Cesar, the question is, how effective will he be? And do the Timberwolves have a plan B for tonight?
Well, Kevin Garnett refers to Sam Cassell as their general. That's because he's their floor leader. He effectively runs the assorted pick and rolls and takes the pressure off Garnett when teams double team the big men as they're rotating out. He stretches defense. He had 16 points and 8 assists in just 32 minutes of action. If his minutes should be limited again in game number 2, then head coach Flip Saunders has to make a decision. Who will he turn to? Derek Martin, who did not play in game 1. Hoiberg, who had 22 minutes in the first game. Sprewell, who in 46 minutes had 23 points, but also had 4 turnovers. Another guy who brought it up in game 1 was Kevin Garnett, but Flip Saunders felt it took too much out of him physically. And besides, Garnett had enough on his hands trying to figure out the swarming Laker defense. He's the focal point of Karl Malone and also the freelancer, Kobe Bryant, coming at him from different angles to try and keep him off balance. In rounds 1 and 2, Garnett averaged over 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. In game 1, he had just 16 points and 10 rebounds. If he has another game in game 2 like the first one, and if Cassell is limited, this could be their last appearance in Target Center this season.
I dug from the Laker point of view. Game 1 was everything that Phil Jackson could hope for. A sparkling performance by the Lakers. It was so good that Shaquille O'Neal even went 9 of 11 at the free throw line.
Well, Marv, we know the Lakers revolve around the best 1-2 punch in the NBA, Shaq and Kobe, and it was no different in game 1. You pound the ball inside to Shaquille O'Neal to loosen up the defense, 27 and 18 in the lane. And then the spectacular play of Kobe and his leadership, 6 assists, did a great job of quarterbacking a team. Karl Malone played Kevin Garnett to a standstill, which was an amazing thing from the Lakers' perspective. And this guy, look what he's done in his last 7 playoff games against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The big 3 at the end of that game to give him a 7-point lead. And, you know, Shaq says, you know, when we play with poise, when we play with enthusiasm, we're unbeatable. He said, we're playing that way right now. I like our team.
All right, and the Lakers are gunning for their 6th straight win here in the postseason. The Timberwolves have other ideas as they look to even up this series at 1 when the scene shifts to Southern California.
They say you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't know a man's got a hold on Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim.
2004 NBA Western Conference Finals, only on TNT.
Back in Minneapolis, we're moments away from the opening tip. A reminder, TNT in HD is now available. Catch it all in high definition. TNT in HD, high definition, high drama. A look at tonight's McDonald's starting lineups. And first for the visiting Los Angeles Lakers. In the backcourt, Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant. Up front, Minneapolis native Devin George with Karl Malone, who had an outstanding all-around performance in game 1, and Shaquille O'Neal, who had 27 points, 18 rebounds. We're looking at the Timberwolves, Cassell, Hassel on the backcourt, Sprewell, Garnett, and Johnson on the front line. We're ready to go. The officials, Steve Javie, Joe DeRosa, and Bill Spooner. Lakers control the opening tip.
Marv, the Lakers like to go to Gary Payton early, give him a quick post up, get him going. He had all 7 of his points in the first quarter of game 1.
And Cassell, his former teammate at Milwaukee, going body to body with Payton. O'Neal with the drop step over Johnson, rebounded by Garnett. Phil Jackson telling us earlier he is always concerned about a quick start by the Timberwolves. They have been a fast starting team throughout the season. Garnett, and a pass that was off the mark, could not be handled by Sprewell.
Something we've seen in the playoffs, a higher number of turnovers coming from Minnesota than you're normally used to seeing.
Mike, they shot 49% Minnesota the other night. We see Payton here going to the basket here early. They shot 49%. They only missed one free throw, but they had 9 less field goal attempts because of their 15 turnovers. That's why they couldn't win the game.
And, you know, on that drive right there, as Payton was going to the basket, Cassell took the foul. We see a quick substitution. Cassell may have hurt his back when he took that foul. And Johnson walked over to Cassell and said, what did you foul him? Like, I was there to protect the basket. He wasn't going to shoot that one. Sam takes the quick foul. He goes right to the bench to sit back down.
And Flip Saunders told us earlier he would have no hesitation in going with Derek Martin, 9-year man out of UCLA, who spent the early part of the season in the CBA. Here is Bryant. And a foul. It is on Hassel, a late whistle as Trent Hassel picks it up.
Well, one of the things, again, we talked about this in game one. You don't want to foul a jump shooter, and Hassel did this twice the other night against Kobe. That was a double pump, very high degree of difficulty shot. You know, normally the referees don't put you on the line on that kind of shot. They don't bail you out when you're behind the three-point line.
And the crowd enjoying that miss by Kobe Bryant. See Sam Cassell headed to the locker room with Minnesota trainer Greg Farnham. Cassell, a question mark, coming off the limited performance in game one on Friday night. Did not practice yesterday, did go through the walkthrough today, and looked a little gimpy in the pregame warm-ups, and as we saw, hurt himself in committing that foul on Payton. Here is the runner by Bryant. Bryant, and the Lakers have a 3-0 lead.
With Cassell going down now, you have 3 really guys on the floor for Minnesota that aren't offensive players. Hassel, Martin, and Urban Johnson. The Lakers can really swarm Sprewell and Garnett with this team now on the floor.
Yeah, this is one of the concerns, the fact that getting other shooters out on the floor, how do you do that without suffering at the defensive end?
Urban Johnson draws the foul. It is on Malone. Urban Johnson is not out there for his offense in his first year with Minnesota. He has been a defensive specialist, shot blocker.
Well, it might force Flip Saunders to go to Michael Olowokandi sooner to get another offensive player out on the floor. Then when you come in with Wally Szczerbiak, who can give you some points, maybe you come back with Urban Johnson. So you always make sure you've got enough offense out on the floor to go with your 2 primary players.
There's a special connection between Martin and Flip Saunders. It goes back to his CBA days.
And he feels very comfortable with him. He said he can run my team, he can make free throws. The big thing is, on all those screen rolls now, the Lakers are going to play it very soft and make him shoot jump shots.
Martin defending on Payton. Bryant working off the screen from O'Neal, and is fouled again by Hassel.
I'm not sure that he quite gets it. You mentioned he did it twice last game, fouled him in the act of shooting. He gets a cheap early call, hitting him in the act of shooting, and once again, as he goes up, there you see him on the forearm of Kobe Bryant. So it's clearly an easy call to make, and now an opportunity to pick up 2 free throws.
Well, the one thing you want Kobe to do is to be a jump shooter. You do not want him to get 8 field goals and 10 free throws and make a 30-point night out of that. Make him a jump shooter. Try to get him to shoot a low percentage, but right now he's stepping to the line already to shoot his 3rd and 4th free throws in the first period.
And Kobe an 85% free throw shooter. Wally Szczerbiak with early entrance as he replaces Trent Hassel. Wally Szczerbiak off the bench the other night, 4 of 8, 9 points.
And you know, Marv, what it does do with Cassell being hurt, now all of a sudden you're into your bench so quickly because of fouls. That's not what Flip Saunders wanted to see to start this game.
Sprewell From Martin, whips it off to Serbiak, being played by George. Shot clock down to 3. Here's Martin. Derek Martin able to penetrate, could not finish. Now Martin defensively, back on Payton.
Last game, the Lakers were so efficient offensively. They had only 3 fast break points. They scored 97 points. We see Shaquille O'Neal with a pump fake and the block that time by Irvin Johnson.
Good job by Irvin Johnson. Garnett has it knocked away. And it's called a jump ball. Both guys were out of bounds.
The whole philosophy of the Lakers is Kobe Bryant says, we want him to feel like he's playing in a crowd, that the minute he puts that ball down, 3 guys are going to be on top of him. And with the loss of their offensive players now, the Lakers can be ultra aggressive and try to make him a passer and limit his field goal attempts.
And you'll see now, as he catches the ball, watch the purple jersey start to pay attention to him. Kobe reaches in, little forearm. Malone from behind. From the top, here comes the next purple jersey, Gary Payton. 3 guys around them, all centered on Kevin Garnett.
Here is Sprewell from 3. So the T-Wolves have a 5-4 lead. Latrell Sprewell coming off a magnificent game here on Friday night. 23 points at 3 from downtown, 5 assists. Payton shoots the 3. Gary Payton from beyond that 3-point line. Lakers 7, the Wolves 5.
Very similar again to game 1. He hit a 3 from the same spot in game 1 in quarter number 1.
Serbiak's pass broken up. Good job by Serbiak getting back, and he touched it last, so it will be Laker ball.
You know, with the early fouls on Hassel, what it does to Sprewell now has to guard Kobe. He's going to play 45 or 46 minutes. He needs to get 20-plus points. Now he's got to guard Kobe. How much energy will that take away from him towards the end of the game?
23 points looms kind of large. You know, he got last game, but he has to play a lot of minutes guarding Kobe.
Malone to the rim is turned back by Johnson. It's a 4-on-3. Sprewell sets his feet for 3. Serbiak able to get to it and score. The game is tied at 7.
I'm not so sure Minnesota wouldn't mind making this kind of a wild, wide-open type of game. Get that Laker defense scrambling around, see openings in the floor, take advantage of it rather than play against a set Laker defense.
Foul is called on Irvin Johnson of the T-Wolves.
Yeah, they cannot make this a conventional game because the Lakers will post him. Kobe will take him from the outside, make it scramble, make Malone and Shaq change into the floor as many times as they can. Irvin Johnson working very hard in the post against Shaquille O'Neal, gets called with the foul.
And very quickly, Minnesota with its 4th team foul. Bryant, yes. Kobe looking to get into it early in contrast to what we saw in game 1.
Also trying to figure out now how they're going to play him in game number 2. He figured out at the end of the game how they were playing the pick and rolls. They were plugging. He made the pass. The Lakers swung the ball. Early on, he had taken it on himself a little bit more.
Sprewell run into by George. The Lakers, second team foul. You know, you look back to last season, opening round of the playoffs. Lakers won game 1 here in Minnesota by 19. Timberwolves won the next 2, but then the Lakers came back to win 3 straight to take that series in 6. Serbiak got a quick relief. Wally Serbiak playing hurt, wearing a protective brace after suffering 3 broken bones in his lower back. That was way back in game 3 in the series against Denver, and has shown progress game by game. He's played well the last 3 outings. O'Neal getting down deep, could not stop. Here comes Sprewell. It's a 3-on-2. Sprewell changed his mind at the last instant and threw it away.
And I think Kobe Bryant had something to do with that because Sprewell knew Bryant was there to pick up the offensive foul. He tried to avoid him, step off to the left side, wound up throwing the bad pass.
Sprewell's used to finishing, not being the guy to make the play on the break.
Good point there. He's a guy going in there with the mentality of score first, pass later.
Bryant. Oh, what a move by Kobe Bryant, who's being chased by Kevin Garnett. Lakers 11, T-Wolves 9. Just under 6.5 remaining in this first quarter. For those who may have just tuned in, Sam Cassell did start despite the back and hip problem. Went out very early after being called for a foul. Here's Garnett. Yes.
Anytime they can step him out on the floor, or maybe one dribble and a shot, and the defense cannot trap him and double team him and make him pass, he'll get more opportunities.
Well, that one move right there told me that he understands if he puts it down more than one time, the next purple jersey's there. So one dribble, quick jump shot.
Evan George reluctant to take the three. Traveling violation called on O'Neal.
And that's one of the few times we've seen Minnesota front Shaquille O'Neal in the low post, something that San Antonio used against him quite a bit.
Just under 6 remaining in the first. The 2004 Western Conference Finals on TNT are being brought to you by Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. By Heineken, it's all about the beer. By American Express, the official card of High Flyers. And by Wendy's new Chicken Temptation. It's better here. Let's check it with Cheryl Miller as more on Sam Cassell. Cheryl?
Well, Mark, as you mentioned, it was just very quickly early in the game that Sam Cassell tweaked his back. Moments ago, he walked off the court with Greg Farnham, the team's athletic trainer. And as we're speaking right now outside of the locker room, he is receiving treatment. But right now, Mark, his status as far as returning to the game is still unknown.
And as you can see, Sam upset as he made his entrance into the Timberwolves locker room. He played only 43 seconds and then had to head to the bench.
It was initially a hip problem that through treatment it moved up into the lower back. Then they treated the lower back and it moved back down into the hip area, so having a tough time trying to resolve the problem, obviously.
And that 6'11.5" point guard Kevin Garnett, as you saw, brought the ball up court. Here's Serbiak for three. Yes.
That's that little, excuse me, Mark, that's that little action that they run to get that back pick to free Serbiak for his shot. Kobe cannot run away from him. He's got to stay attached to him.
Serbiak providing a lift off the bench. He's 3 for 3 from the field. On the turnover, here comes Sprewell. Bryant gets back, and the foul is called. It's a blocking foul. It's on the Lakers, on Payton.
You see Minnesota trying to push the tempo. 7 fast break points in game number 1. Here trying to get the crowd into it, trying to get themselves open shots in transition. You see the block by Gary Payton, who hits Serbiak, who happens to also drain one more shot, even though the foul was called.
Sprewell digging for the rim and gives it up. Johnson is rejected. Derek Martin with Devin George coming right at him. The Timberwolves now lead 16-11. Derek Martin appeared in only 16 games during the regular season. He was signed to a couple of 10-day contracts. Serbiak on the foul. So the T-Wolves and the penalty. That'll put George at the line. But Derek Martin signed in late January initially. He had been with the Sioux Falls Skyforce in the CBA last year. Most valuable player in the CBA playoffs with Yakima. And as you guys mentioned, Cliff Saunders knows Derek well from his days as a head coach in the CBA. Derek has been up and down. He's been in Vancouver, he's been Sacramento, Dallas, and now here in Minnesota.
Well, you can see this is also, too, where you really miss Troy Hudson. And Mike had talked about that before, but this is a guy who played so well last year in this playoff series against the Lakers. Had a 19-point game against them early this year. Speed, quickness, can run the break. They really miss him now with Cassell being in.
He's that point guard that can also score big numbers for you on given nights.
Nice pass, gets it down low. So Serbiak has 9 points. Timberwolves with a 9-0 run, and they lead by 7 points.
So there's a different energy level right now from Minnesota than we saw in game number 1.
Here's Payton for 3. That's 2 3-pointers for Gary Payton. And the T-Wolves have an 18-14 lead.
Has not shot the ball well at all from the 3-point line in the playoffs. When he makes that shot, it really extends your defense.
Johnson taking the pass from Serbiak.
Wally is ultra aggressive. I guess that's what desperation will do. They know they cannot go down 0-2 in this series.
That's 3 assists for Wally Serbiak. Bryant on a difficult angle and hits on the follow. Kobe Bryant chasing down his own shot. So Kobe has 10 points. Shaq has not scored. All the points have come from the Laker backcourt. Serbiak, well, he challenged O'Neal and was rejected. The foul on Sprewell. And Bryant will go to the foul line. That's the first on Sprewell.
I think Shaq had seen enough of Wally Zerbiak getting in the lane. He said, I gotta discourage this guy. He's coming into the lane, he's finger rolling, he's dropping off 3 assists. If I block one of his shots, he'll start looking around a little bit, not quite be quite as comfortable.
Lakers just 2 of 6 at the line. Reminder tomorrow night on ESPN. It's the Pistons and the Pacers. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And Wednesday on ESPN will be Game 3 of the series. As they move to Auburn Hills. Herman Johnson hears it from the crowd as he sits down, and Michael Olowokandi, one of the surprises of Game 1, is checked in. How about last night at Conseco Fieldhouse, Indiana with a victory? For 47.5 minutes of the game, Reggie Miller was very quiet. He was 0 for 6 from the field, chasing around Rip Hamilton, and then with about a half minute left, Reggie hits the 3, the game winner.
Well, we've seen that quite often. You cannot give him an inch of daylight with under a minute to play, regardless of how many shots he's taken in the game.
Talking about backcourts, how about the Laker backcourt? They have scored all 18 points for the Lakers thus far. Nobody in the front line has a point for the Lakers.
Foul on Payton, that is his second. He's looking over at the Laker bench. Phil Jackson not making a move at this moment to Derek Fisher. Just under 3 minutes remaining in this opening quarter. And it is kicked out of bounds.
They're basically challenging Martin to shoot the basketball. You saw Payton slide underneath the screen, give him the open jumper. Minnesota leading by 2, 20-18. We'll go to the offensive sets that Minnesota loves to use. They start by entering the ball into Kevin Garnett in the low post there, and then they like to do action away from the basketball. Once the ball goes in, Garnett's job will look around and see what's taking place. Well, Wally Serbiak had the hot hand, so they sent the center, Irvin Johnson, over, and they plan on bringing Serbiak off, but he reads his defensive man to see what he's going to do. Is he going to fight him over the screen? Right at that moment, he changes direction and runs a back cut to the basket. This defensive man, Payton, is responsible to get across and protect the basket in the back. He doesn't get there. A beautiful pass that time by Garnett to Serbiak.
T-Wolves have 14 on the shot clock off that kick ball just prior to the break. Garnett with some contact, and now the foul. I think Shaq got him twice. So Garnett will go to the line. That's the first on Shaquille O'Neal.
The difference is the first one was not a shooting foul. That's the difference. The first one they would have taken it out. Second one, he hits him in the head. First one, he would have gone bonus anyhow to the line.
Well, we know how important it is for Garnett to get to the free throw line. In the wins, you see his attempts, almost 10 a game. In the losses, less than 4. The other night, he did not get to the free throw line except twice. And that's when his aggressiveness then feeds down to the rest of his teammates. And the other night, he just did not have the energy level that he's had in previous games that gave him 7 against Sacramento, the emotional toll. And he knows he has to be terrific today if his team is going to even this series.
No question there was a lack of energy here in Game 1 on the part of Kevin Garnett off that dramatic victory over Sacramento back on Wednesday. Here is Bryant. Kobe getting good looks. That's 14 points for Bryant.
Well, the one thing by running the pick and roll at that angle, there is no one there to plug or help for Minnesota. They ran it to the sideline, open side of the floor. If the guy gets bumped off, there's no help.
Eric Fisher has checked in for the first time for the Lakers, and a foul is called. That's 2 on Malone. Both teams in the penalty, and that will send Martin to the free throw line.
When you look at minutes played in game 1, Karl Malone played 44 and Garnett played 45. So it's almost like Phil Jackson does not want to take Karl Malone out until Flip Saunders takes out Kevin Garnett. So he can always have him matched up against him. Now you're going to see Slava Medvedenko come in. Can Kevin Garnett take advantage of this with Karl Malone sitting on the bench?
But Phil Jackson knows he has to have Karl Malone to play big minutes in the second half. So if he's going to give it up, he's going to give up those minutes right now.
Eric Bogdan was 9 for 9 at the line during the regular season. Hits on both. The Timberwolves by 4. Here's Sprewell applying some pressure on Bryant. Bryant and Fisher in the backcourt. O'Neal, George, and Medvedenko up front, and Shaq took the pop from Olowokandi.
Well, one of the things we're seeing here early, and Mike, you've talked about this during the course of the game, to pick up the tempo of the game. Minnesota, every time they're getting a chance, are extending their defense. They're trying to pressure the Lakers. Lakers aren't running nearly as much triangle offense. They're running a lot more screen rolls, a lot more quick-hitting things, direct plays to Shaquille O'Neal. 9 of 11 in game 1. Let's see how he steps up here tonight.
This is after shooting 38% at the free throw line in the postseason coming into game number 1.
He is so streaky. He'll go through stretches where it looks like he couldn't make 1 out of 20. And then he'll go through stretches where he looks like he's an 80% shooter.
And for Shaq, his first points of the night, look out. The foul is called on Derek Fisher, who certainly got the worst of that one. Derek obviously hurting. Get another look.
Well, whoever man is setting that screen is the guy that caused Derek Fisher to take that shot. The rule of thumb is you got to get up the floor. Whoever was guarding Sprewell was not up there close enough to talk about the back pick coming. And how do you relieve pressure? You relieve pressure by setting screens. Normally it's the big guy setting those picks. You can see no Laker in sight there to let Fisher know that back pick was coming.
And there was nothing illegal about Sprewell's screen. It was a solid, good, hard screen. He was set the entire way. That's why you rely on your teammate to be there to slow up the ball handler and also communicate with your other teammate that here's a screen here. You're going to get knocked down pretty soon.
Derek Fisher able to shake it off. Easy for me to say.
Well, positive sign from Minnesota. They're 8 for 8 from the foul line, so being aggressive, getting to the line.
Medvedenko with the step. Not able to complete on the reverse. Here's Sprewell ahead of the field. And we are seeing a sparked up Minnesota Timberwolves ball club in this first quarter. They now lead by 6, coming up on 1 minute remaining in the first. O'Neal gives it back. Here is George for 3. At the line by O'Neal. Being played by Olowokandi. Nice spin move by Shaq, and he draws the foul.
That was quick. That was a quick spin move. It looked like Shaq was going to go to the middle. He drop stepped, spun that ball to the baseline side. I think you see some of the agility of the big man as Oliver Miller is going to check into the game. We've seen Olowokandi, we've seen Irvin Johnson, now Oliver Miller.
Miller played 2 minutes in game 1. Olowokandi picking up his second foul.
Olowokandi had 33 minutes in game number 1, 10 points and 11 rebounds, but look at head-to-head in their career. 18 games they played, 15 wins for Shaq's team, just 3 to Olowokandi. Look at the dominance by Shaquille O'Neal over Olowokandi. In fact, Shaq had 61 in the 1 game.
You know, it's sort of interesting. He struggled mightily in the first 2 series. How about trying to get yourself going, playing against Shaquille O'Neal? Not a guy you want to bust your slump with.
Of course, from Michael Olowokandi point of view, although he was severely outplayed, it was Clippers versus Lakers. Garnett with a nice turnaround, and the Minnesota Timberwolves now lead it 30-22.
No disrespect, but why is it that superstars, once they get somebody off the bench playing, and they go right to work?
Fisher stripped from behind. Nice play by Martin. And the Timberwolves on the run. Sprewell around Bryant. Yes. 32-22 Minnesota. They're on their feet here at the Target Center. Another run by Minnesota. 8 unanswered points.
We see them fronting the low post right now, forcing the lob pass.
And here it is, with O'Neal able to shake loose on Miller.
They actually had him double team. Garnett had come over from behind, which you're allowed to do legally, double team a low post there without the ball. But then Garnett got out of the lane and went back across to the other side.
Down to 10 seconds left in this first quarter. Eric Martin has played very well, coming on for Sam Cassell from way downtown. And that's the end of the first. A strong start for Minnesota. 11 of 17 from the field. Latrell Sprewell coming off a strong performance in game one, leading the way with 9 points. So after one at the Target Center, it is a 32-24 Minnesota lead.
Welcome back to the Target Center, where the Lakers are down by 8 despite 14 points by Kobe Bryant. Earlier, the Czar mentioned that in game one, Kobe Bryant was reading the pick and rolls and hitting the open man. Now, that decision-making was helped by Brian Shaw, a former Laker point guard whose official title is Assistant Director of Scouting and Player Development. Phil Jackson is so impressed with Shaw's X's and O's that he has him sit behind the bench and gives him the green light to consult the players anytime he wishes. Kobe is the one that has benefited the most. During this past time out, Shaw told him that they're setting great picks on Sprewell, that he is not getting through the pick and roll. The shots are wide open for Kobe, and so is the lane to the basket. Marv?
All right, thanks, Craig. Brian Shaw did a nice job coming off the bench in recent years for Phil Jackson and the Lakers. Second quarter is underway. Fred Hoiberg has checked in for the first time. Now Sprewell shoots the three. Good box out by Kareem Rush, who has checked in for the first time. It's Bryant and Payton and Rush on the floor, along with Malone and Medvedenko. Here is Kobe Bryant. He's had
off the pick and roll.
6 of 8 from the field, 16 points.
And this is his time now with Shaquille O'Neal down. This is when he's going to really try to take over. So Minnesota has got to really pay attention to him.
Garnett gives it back. Garnett played now by Medvedenko. Here's Garnett. Yes, the foul.
Kevin Garnett made that shot falling away, but when he landed awkwardly on that ankle. He made the shot, but then afterwards he took some time out of bounds on the baseline, trying to get himself right once again. How badly he turned that ankle remains to be seen.
It's an interesting time now as we see Kevin Garnett go to the line, because this is the first time we've seen Minnesota tonight without a point guard on the floor. They started with Cassell. They came in with Derek Martin, who ran the team very smoothly. They were in a nice rhythm. Now, no point guard. Will they struggle to get into the flow of their offense?
They shot 65% in the first quarter. And as you mentioned, Martin did a great job of keeping him, executing, doing exactly what Flip Saunders wanted. Now with these two guards, can the Laker guards get after them and put pressure on them?
Bryant to the fadeaway. Good job by Garnett getting it to Serbiak. Hoiberg. Garnett flashing down low on Medvedenko. Lakers going with Medvedenko on Garnett rather than Malone. Malone has 2 fouls. That's a kick ball. Payton getting a piece of it. Here comes the Mad Dog, Mark Manson, one-time Laker. Big favorite here, as he was in Los Angeles, checking in for Kevin Garnett, who sits down with 8 points.
Question now is, where does the scoring come from for Minnesota? How do they initiate or generate offense with this group on the floor?
Sprewell slashing and cutting. He's got to get inside, and he's got to create shots for his teammates.
Shot clock down to 5. Miller gets it off. Now Payton met by Hoiberg. Hoiberg's done a nice job defensively this season for Minnesota. And Malone is fouled. Crowd looking for a traveling violation.
Great job of reading the defense that time. Malone caught the defensive man Miller on his backside or bottom side. The ball came right back to the top. They fired it right down through the middle of the lane as Malone sealed his man off on his back.
When you think of Oliver Miller, you think back to the '93 finals. Our man Charles Barkley in there played with him. Oliver Miller was a big part of that Phoenix team that went to the NBA Finals.
Here's Malone, and it's an offensive foul. And that's a huge call. That's number 3 on Malone.
And you watch Hoiberg paying the price for taking the charge, because you'll watch the knee of Karl Malone, something he's always done in his career. As he goes to the basket, he brings the knee up right into the midsection of the defensive player. That's where he gets hurt.
It shouldn't surprise you. Fred Hoiberg was recruited out of high school by Nebraska to play football. This is one tough customer. He will step in and give up his body. He knows the importance of this game.
Fred in his 9th season out of Iowa State, originally a second-round pick of the Pacers. Spent 4 years with Indiana, played the last 4 with Chicago, and then signed as a free agent by Minnesota. Among the leaders in three-point shooting during the regular season. Miller sends the pick for Sprewell, pulls it back, finds Hudson, who lays it home. Good look from Sprewell, and the Timberwolves lead by 10.
In Game 7 against Sacramento, he was so excited. He dropped 3 of those passes out of bounds. I'm sure he feels good to finally finish one.
Bryant has to give it up. Here's Luke Walton, who just checked in and hits from downtown. Remember Luke with a big 3 in the series against San Antonio.
It seems like somebody always comes in for Phil Jackson and hits critical shots off the bench. It's been throughout his career as a coach that this has happened.
Serbiak thought he was fouled. Manson able to get to it and took the shot. Here comes Walt. Now Payton fires. Just a shade over 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. T-Wolves up by 7. Sprewell didn't have the shot, changed his mind. Serbiak ends up with it, fires way off, kept alive again by Manson. Mark Manson is all over that rim.
The wilder this game gets, the more it favors Minnesota.
As good as LA was in game number 1, where they looked like they had everything under control as Kobe takes it to the basket, blocked by Miller that time, stripped again as Medvedenko goes back up. Right now, the Lakers seem nothing even close to what they were in game number 1.
Well, they've lost their poise right now. They're playing a very scattered game, shot clock, and bad possession by the Lakers.
Shot clock was down to 1, so Kobe had to shoot. Serbiak. And Walton is on it. It's helter-skelter, both ends of the court.
Look at the team that the Lakers have on the floor. Not one that Phil has gotten a lot of minutes with in the playoffs.
Well, it's Payton, Rush, Bryant, Walton, Medvedenko. Good job by Sprewell. He made Bryant give it up, but Rush fires. Here's Hoiberg, moving it back for the T-Wolves. The pass behind Serbiak. Hoiberg able to save it. And last touch by the Lakers. Serbiak saying, hey, why no foul call? Timeout taken. 7:15 remaining in this first half. Speaking of helter-skelter, disorganized, oh, that was the basketball. Here's tonight's version of Bud Light's Idle Thoughts from the mind of the Czar.
I know you'd be interested in this. In 1983, Moses Malone won the league MVP, NBA title, and MVP award of the finals. He averaged over 24 points per game and over 15 rebounds during the season. Well, Malone and Kevin Garnett are the only players to go straight from high school and win MVP honors. Pretty good company for this young man, Kevin
That was
Garnett.
impressive. I got to give you, that was impressive.
Impressive on the part of Malone and Garnett.
I got to hang with Czar. That was good.
All right, let's check in with Craig.
Well, Marv, you mentioned how it's helter-skelter at both ends of the court. In one of those collisions, Kobe Bryant had the fingernail on his middle finger of his left hand torn back. Also cut the finger on him. They had to put Band-Aids on it, and he is right now, after being attended to, taking a short rest.
All right, thanks, Craig. Shaquille O'Neal has checked back in. Gary Trent has come on for the first time. Kevin Garnett is back. Trent with the rebound. Hoiberg. Serbiak with the shot. Lakers now have Payton and Fisher at the guards with O'Neal, Medvedenko, and George up front. No hesitation by Derek Fisher as he hits from downtown. The other night, 25 minutes, 5 of 9, 14 points, 4 of 5 from beyond that three-point line, and hit 2 threes and scored 8 points in that Laker 11-0 run that ended the third quarter.
Doug Fisher was determined to make you change your statistic that you talked about in the beginning of the game, how effective he is.
He's now 26 of 40 against the T-Wolves. But you know why I think he's really in the game right now is to pressure the basketball. They do not have a point guard. They're now coming back with Martin. So I think that Flip Saunders saw Fisher up pressuring the basketball, and he says, I better get a ball handler on the floor so they can't disrupt what we're trying to do. And there you see the matchup now, those two guys.
For the normal Laker guards, the starting guards never really went after Minnesota's guards.
Garnett. And Kevin Garnett has come back strong off the subpar outing the other night. He now has 10 points. He's hit 4 of 6 from the field. 8-point Minnesota lead. Foul is called as Shaquille O'Neal got involved with Mark Madsen, and Madsen called on the personal.
Well, Shaq really likes Mark Madsen. This is one, he took him under his wing out in L.A. Actually, when he drove up one day in a dented-up car, he said, you can't be driving that car here with the Lakers. Took him to a dealership, helped him get a car, and Mark Madsen loves Shaq. But right now, it's competition.
Here's Payton for 3. He's hit 2 from downtown. Doug, happened to be a dealership that Shaq has a percentage of.
Well,
yes.
Always thinking about making that agent's fee, you know.
Have I got a deal for you, Shaq said to you.
At my spot.
Martin with nice ball handling. Now Martin wide open.
Talked about the pressure. We saw at that time. That was the most pressure the Lakers have put on any one of the guards of Minnesota.
And O'Neal getting down deep. And is hacked. Madsen on the foul. That's his second. And a timeout taken. 8-point Timberwolves lead. 5.5 to play in this first half. You're looking at the State Capitol building. Back in the Twin Cities, the 2004 Western Conference Finals on TNT are being brought to you by Sky Sport, the new low-carb, ultra-premium malt beverage with the taste of citrus and cranberry. And by Verizon Wireless. They never stop working for you. A look at the lobby area of the Target Center, which features a statue of George Mikan, the NBA's very first superstar center. George led the old Minneapolis Lakers to 6 championships. The Minneapolis Lakers, an original member of the NBA, and they were the dominant team, coached by John Kunva. There's Big George. It was Mikan and Vern Mickelson, number 19 right there. Jim Pollard, Slater Martin, Whitey Skoog. Lakers eventually moved to Los Angeles in 1960 and have gone on to much success on the West Coast. Twin Cities awarded with an expansion franchise back in 1989. O'Neal able to keep it alive. Rebounded by Garnett. That's 5 rebounds for Garnett, along with 10 points. How about 13 assists on 15 field goals by the T-Wolves?
And only 3 turnovers. Again, when they have that high assist-turnover ratio, they're very effective.
Serbiak with room. Well, Wally started hot, and he has cooled off.
Well, you know, he's not played many minutes. You wonder how much that's fatigue, because the first thing to go, Marv, is your shooting.
Look, I'm curious on the matchups right here. Fisher has been playing Serbiak. They've had George putting pressure on Martin, bringing the ball up the court. And I'm trying to figure out why, because that time Serbiak took Fisher right down the post and tried to post him up.
Now Kobe Bryant will check back in. He'll replace Devin George. Devin George, who grew up here in Minneapolis, very quiet game 1. Thus far here, 0 for 1 from the field. Played his college ball at Augsburg in Minneapolis. Latrell Sprewell back on the floor, coming on for Fred Hoiberg. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Minnesota up by 8 points, trying to get back into the series, looking to even it at 1. Foul is called. It's a block on Medvedenko. That's the 13th foul on the Lakers.
Well, during that timeout, when they brought Kobe back on the floor, they went to that lineup that you were talking about, Mike. They put Fisher back on Martin to pressure the basketball. And, you know, with the absence of Shaquille O'Neal's offense here in this first half, he only has 1 field goal, only 6 points in the paint for the Lakers, 12 for Minnesota. In game 1, it was 32-16 Lakers, so they were plus 16 tonight, minus 6. Shaq has not been a factor inside.
Brian Cook, the rookie from Illinois, played briefly the other night, has checked in for the first time. Serbiak, rebounded by Irvin Johnson, and he is fouled.
The reason that happened is 2 Lakers rotated out to the corner to challenge the shooter, one of which was Shaquille O'Neal. Phil Jackson normally wouldn't want him rotating out. Instead, you have nobody blocking out underneath. There's the 2 Lakers flying out to challenge the shooter. There's the man underneath the center, Irvin Johnson, who comes up with the second shot opportunity.
The rule is always big goes out, big stays in, little goes out. I'm shocked that Shaq even went out. Normally he doesn't go out there.
Foul on Fisher, his 3rd. Get an all-access look at the NBA playoffs. Tune in to the NBA TV playoff show, Destination Finals. That's nightly at 6 p.m. only on NBA TV. This crowd has been alive right from the start. Johnson with the steal. Gives Martin. Yes. Timberwolves with their biggest lead of the night. We're seeing some pressure here by Minnesota. Now they drop back.
And a much more aggressive Minnesota defense. They're not going to let the Lakers play pick and roll without making them think a little bit. Jumping the last one real hard to force the turnover.
They double up on Shaq. He finds Cook. Nice look by Shaquille O'Neal, who was an excellent passer.
Oh, that's a great point. And again, the efficiency of the Lakers. In game 1, they had 29 assists and only 8 turnovers. Tonight, that's only their 7th assist of the game with 4 turnovers.
And how about Minnesota? No turnovers the last 15 minutes. There was a defensive 3-second violation, technical foul, and the technical will be taken by Wally Serbiak.
The man over the last few games that has really set the tone for this Minnesota team and brings the injury is Latrell Sprewell, and he started in game 5 against Sacramento. It was a 2-2 series, came out on the run, had 34 points, and then game 6 and game 7 he was terrific. You can see he averaged 25 points a game in that series. The first 2 games here in this series, he's been terrific. He has jump-started his team with his energy, and now he's out there with Kevin Garnett. Those 2 guys set the tone for this team.
Hoiberg, rebound Garnett, twisting his way and kicks it out. Sprewell, Fisher with the rebound as we come up on 3 minutes to play in the first half. Timberwolves up by 10. Sprewell back on Bryant. O'Neal fouled by Johnson. And that's his second.
You know, you always tell your big man, don't bring the ball down. When Shaq spins to go to the basket, he gets that arm out, that elbow out, you stick your head in there, he is going to punish you. Those elbows are up, he's got the ball chinned, and he's going right to the basket. He does not bring that ball down to his waist where you can knock that thing away from him.
This entire move by Shaquille O'Neal was determined just to draw the foul, put another foul on Johnson. You can see he takes this one right through him as he drop steps, spins back. You watch him bring the arm up. There's the elbow you talked about, and he's going right through his body to initiate that contact.
Shaq hit his first two. He has missed his last four, coming off the 9 of 11 Friday night. Game one. T-Wolves up by 10. Just under 3 minutes remaining in this first half. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Desar, Mike Fratello, Craig Sager, Cheryl Miller. Our studio crew on hand. One on the shot clock. Yes! Latrell Sprewell from downtown just to beat the 24-second clock. 13-point Minnesota lead. Phil Jackson wants a timeout.
Doug, you talked about the guy who has energized this Minnesota team. Latrell Sprewell started out early, making a three, goes to this timeout, hitting another one.
Well, coming up on the Verizon Wireless halftime report, see Ernie Johnson getting ready. There's Ernie. Sorry, you're so good with the telestrator. Ernie not appreciating the circle, as you can see. It's Ernie, Kenny, Charles, Magic, and our man Steve Kerr, part of the crew. They'll have first half analysis from the T-Wolves and the Lakers.
Marv, I think this last 2.5 minutes is so important for Minnesota. They have drastically outplayed the Lakers. They cannot let the Lakers hit them with a little 6 or 7 point run here to cut into the lead. They need to have a dominant first half lead.
Right here, they're up by 13. Sprewell all over Bryant, who fires off the double team. Garnett came over to help. Nice play by Hoiberg on the save. Sprewell guarded by Payton on a switch. We're down to 2 minutes remaining first half. The rookie Cook defending on Garnett with help. Hoiberg passed on the three. Rebounded by O'Neal.
Nice job chasing him off three, making him dribble the ball. Not nearly as effective when he has to bounce the ball.
Lakers only 4 of 13 from the field in the second quarter. Bryant with the head fake, able to draw the foul on Sprewell.
Kobe taking that shot on the right shoulder area once again, which had been hurt earlier this season after he faked and had a defender land on top of him.
That was on an early TNT game, and then he did it later in the season. Thought he was going to miss a lot more time. Actually only missed 2 games, came back, actually played a little left-handed while he was out there playing.
Right, remember at the All-Star break, he said that he had come back with a stronger left hand, more of a bank shot type technique because he had worked on it while he was sidelined.
Wally Zerbiak was up at the table to replace Sprewell. Sprewell looked over at Flip Saunders and said, no, don't take me out. Saunders wants to get him out because he picked up his second personal foul. He didn't want him to get his third. Sprewell kept waving him off, waving him off. The coach decided, I'm making that decision.
Sprewell sits down, 12 points, 5 assists. Zerbiak hit his first 4 shots and has missed his last 6. We're told that Sam Cassell continues to receive treatment on his back. Hoiberg not been able to hit. And it's still a question as to whether Cassell will return in the second half. He did start the game, although he was a question mark. Cook able to get to it. Here's Cook rejected by Johnson. Irvin Johnson with his second block shot of the night. Just under 1 minute remaining in the half.
You think Garnett doesn't like just the fact that he's not looking at Karl Malone right now? He knows he can take Brian Cook.
Martin, well, draws the foul. That shot had no chance. That was a deep finger roll attempt.
You know, you were talking about Sprewell a while ago, Mike, and I think he's more susceptible to picking up an offensive foul as a third, slashing and going to the basket, than maybe a defensive foul. I think Flip knows how much he is attacking that basket. I think he was more worried on the offensive end picking up a foul than he was on the defensive end.
I think it was a move that, without question, he had to make. Coaches sometimes must think about the situation, understand that the players play on emotion, don't realize the importance of if they pick up that third foul, what it means in the second half.
We talked about it earlier. Derek Martin playing with a lot of poise, coming on early for Sam Cassell, and he's a guy who hits his free throws. He is now 3 for 3 at the line. Make it 4 out of 4. T-Wolves now lead by 13.
And as a coach, you want a guy off the bench as a backup point guard that you can trust, that will do what you ask him to do. It doesn't have to be spectacular.
Payton lost it. It's a backcourt violation. Payton felt that Miller got a piece of it. But the ball back to Minnesota. If it had been deflected by a T-Wolf, Payton could have made the play. It appeared that it was last touched by Payton.
This is the second time that we've seen a hard step out, a hard hedge by the T-Wolves force a turnover by LA. It was Bryant before, Payton that time.
Down to 26 seconds remaining in this first half.
This pressure defense by Minnesota has gotten the Lakers out of sorts. They're turning the ball over. This is not the same team. We saw Shaq only 1 field goal here, not getting good paint catches.
And the foul on Miller. Oliver Miller getting playing time here in the second quarter. First round draft pick of the Suns in '92. One-time teammate, as you mentioned, of Charles Barkley, Phoenix team that went to the finals in '93. He's made a number of stops along the way before he was signed as a free agent by Minnesota. Even played for the Harlem Globetrotters along with ABA, USBL, overseas.
In game number 1, the Laker front line wound up scoring 44 points, 46 points, I should say, in that game. Right now, Malone, no points. George, no points. Shaquille O'Neal, just 4 points in the first half. A non-existent Laker front line thus far.
And one of the key factors for the Timberwolves, they have not turned it over the last 19 minutes, which is phenomenal.
Again, you know, Marvin, in game 1, they shot 49%, but the Lakers got 9 more shots at the basket. They only missed 1 free throw, but they only got there 15 times. Tonight they have taken 12 free throws. They're aggressive, they're active, their defense is up the floor, and they have rattled the Laker offense. This is a Laker offense that normally is very a team that plays with a lot of rhythm. Tonight they're disjointed, and the guy who's suffering is Shaquille O'Neal. He's not catching the ball in any kind of rhythm.
And what did Flip Saunders tell us earlier? Not only do we have to play harder than the Lakers tonight, we must disrupt that offensive rhythm. And they have succeeded.
Sprewell is back on the floor here, the last possession. He's got to make sure he does not pick up an offensive foul going to the basket.
See the numbers on Shaq, only 1 for 5. Not hit his free throws tonight. 10 seconds to play in the first half. Lakers are in the penalty. Here's Martin being chased by Rush. Martin spinning. Martin. It counts! They'll review it. But it appeared that he got it off on time.
He got himself in trouble. He penetrated so deep he had nowhere to go. The Lakers get a piece of it, but sometimes it's just the right bounce. You can see clearly that the ball is out of his hands. Gets the fortunate hit on the rim and roll to end the first half.
So a 19-13 advantage for the T-Wolves over the Lakers in the second quarter. Latrell Sprewell has been the spark. Let's go to Cheryl with Latrell.
Latrell, yesterday you told me this was a must-win situation for you guys. You guys really approached this like this is a Game 7 tonight.
I mean, we have to win tonight. No, I don't think that's any secret. This is a very good Laker team, and I think the key for us is we're pressuring them. We're being a lot more aggressive, you know, full court, picking those guys up and trying to challenge every shot.
Sam Cassell obviously missed most of this first half, but you guys have to be pleased the way that you moved the ball around in the half-court offense and no turnovers in this quarter.
Well, I've said it before. We have guys that are very capable. I mean, we got guys that can really shoot the ball, so we just want to spread the floor. We know they're coming on KG, so if he gets the ball out of the double teams, we got guys spaced out. They just need to knock down shots.
All right, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
I'll send it back to you, Mark.
All right, thanks, Cheryl. Latrell Sprewell, 12 points. Garnett and Serbiak, 10 apiece. You saw the officiating crew checking out the review of that last shot, and they say it was good. So that the Timberwolves with a 51-37 lead over the Lakers at the half. Kobe Bryant, the high man, for Los Angeles with 19. Shaq just 1 for 5, 4 points. We'll be right back.
They have played 24 minutes here at Target Center, Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, and the Timberwolves, who gave away the home court edge in Game 1, coming back with a vengeance in Game 2 to lead 51-37. 24 minutes away from tying this series at a game apiece. Ernie Johnson here at Target Center, joined by Hall of Famer and Laker VP Magic Johnson, Steve Kerr, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. And as this game began tonight, folks, bad omen for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you would think, because inside of a minute, Sam Cassell, already bothered by the bad back and the bad hip, can only play 43 seconds of this game, and he's headed back to the locker room, unable to go. Add to that the Trenton Hassel situation as this game begins. The best one-on-one defender called for the foul on Kobe Bryant there, and then moments later, Hassel picks up foul number 2. So in the first 3 minutes or so of this game, Hassel has to sit down. And if you're a Minnesota fan, you're saying these are not good things. Cassell and Hassel both gone early in the game. But something has happened here, and Minnesota has rallied. Take me through it, Kenny.
Yeah, it's not a good thing, but it would have been demoralizing, I thought, if Sam Cassell would have announced yesterday that he wasn't going to play. Obviously, he wasn't playing because it would have put guys like Fred Hoiberg in this position all night. The Lakers are saying, you know what? This is not your position. We're going to take you out and do things that make you uncomfortable. Everyone would have been uncomfortable. But then comes Derek Martin. He's a point guard. He's not the greatest. He's not the fastest, but he's a point guard. No pressure. Now we can swing the ball. We can get it inside. We can get it to Garnett. He can work because he just knows his thing. And I saw him do this all his career at UCLA. He hits jump shots. He hits open shots. He's a great player. He was down in the Harlem Globetrotters at the beginning of this season. Now he's hitting shots in the Western Conference Finals.
I don't know if you guys predicted it, but I knew he would personally outscore the Lakers starting front line in the first half. I could have called that one.
Well, I think it's same thing Urban said before the game. It's frustrating. Lakers play how they want to. They're just going through the motions. Like we said at halftime of Game 1, they're just not playing with any energy. They know they can't lose to Minnesota. They're going through the motions, and Minnesota jumped on and played a very good first half.
Shaquille O'Neal had 15 points in the first half of Game 1. Here he's got 4 points on 1 out of 5, Magic.
Well, it's easy to say. They've been selling for jump shots all the first half. They only looked at him a couple of times, and then in Game 1, they got it into him. Even when he kicked it out, they kicked it right back to him. Tonight, when he kicks it out, they're selling for jump shots. I said it early on. Minnesota had to speed up the game. Their defense has helped them speed up the game because on offense, they get the easy transition points or good jump shots in the transition game. So that's been the difference of this game.
While Kevin Garnett has 10 points for Minnesota, again, it's Latrell Sprewell providing a lot of energy on this, providing 12 points in the first half. Take me through Spree's first half.
Well, he had an incredible first half. First, right here, he set a good hard pick on Derek Fisher.
Hello, we're here. We're still here. This is I know you're supposed to sweep us, but we're still here.
But listen, first of all, that was a terrible officiating call. I couldn't believe they called that Fisher on Derek Fisher. That was ridiculous.
But these two baskets came off a transition basketball. Good defense by Minnesota. They got out and ran and got those easy jump shots, something they didn't get in game number 1.
Wally Szczerbiak with 10 points in the first half also. I mean, they're getting the contributions in the first half here, Steve, that they absolutely have to survive in this series.
Well, you're right.
Extended.
10 points for Szczerbiak, 10 points for Derek Martin, and only 3 turnovers as a team. They played as well as they possibly could. The question is, can they sustain it? And are the Lakers laying in the weeds, or are they just not bringing their energy tonight?
Kobe Bryant, we talked about him the other night, Kenny, and you were saying, you know, he was just kind of watching and not asserting himself. Different story early in this game tonight.
Well, early, you know, he took on an obstacle and said, there is no hassle. I can get shots. I can get to the basket. I can create things. But in the same token, it took Shaquille O'Neal away from the basket. And so when Kobe wasn't scoring, I think the other players, the supporting scorers, the Derek Fishers, the Devin George, they didn't look as much for Shaq in the low post either.
Charles, is this a better Minnesota effort tonight than they had the other night? I know you're saying the Lakers are kind of coasting through it, but would you give Minnesota a better effort in this game than game one?
Well, they have played much better, but this is strictly a game where the Lakers not even trying. They're just going through the motions. Yeah, Minnesota played well, but you got to get Lakers are not going. They're just going through the motions.
Also, they made some great adjustments by Minnesota. Remember, I talked about moving Kevin Garnett out? They did that in the first half, moved him and kept him moving, so that way that double team couldn't get there as quick, and then he was turning to the baseline. Once he saw the double team come, he was falling away to the baseline on his jump shot.
Meantime, better than 19,000 here at Target enjoying the halftime festivities, which were arranged by Charles, one of his favorite acts league-wide.
I was working on that before the game.
And 19,000 plus appreciate it.
You and Steve?
Here at Target.
I'm glad you ain't say me.
Boy, that'll hurt right there.
No matter which end you're on. We'll be back with more on the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report.
Did he borrow your outfit, Ernie? Was that your leotard?
The Halftime Report from the Western Conference Finals is brought to you by Verizon Wireless, the official wireless provider of the NBA.
Can you hear me now? Good.
2004 NBA Western Conference Finals, only on TNT.
Hello? Oh, hi. Mr. Wendy here, going door to door to remind people about Wendy's late night pickup window.
Don't you have anything better to do?
Actually, no. Look, how many times have you been forced to eat lousy food late at night?
Happens all the time.
Why? If you go to Wendy's, they'll make you a really good classic double with cheese, fresh, instead of something that's been sitting around for who knows how long.
You're with Wendy's?
Well, unofficially. So is anyone else home?
Yeah. Say hi to Bruno.
Hello? Bruno?
Wendy's pickup window is open till midnight or later.
Hey, yo, Thirst, let me get a Sprite.
No doubt. What's better than Sprite when it's hotter than a devil's drawers out?
Oh, here he goes.
I'm serious. That thirst-quenching lemon lime hitting the back of your throat. Splatter. Really? Name one thing that's better. You can't. There is nothing better. I dare you. I double dog dare you. I defy you to name one thing. All right. Name two. Show 'em my motto. Hey, girls. Throw it in reverse for thirst.
I've lost over 42 pounds in less than 4 months.
I've lost over 50 pounds of fat.
I lost 33 pounds, and 100% of that was fat.
Today, I'm down 51 pounds and 9 inches around my waist.
Welcome back to the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report. After the game on Inside, we'll be talking about the Eastern Conference Finals and one of our favorite soundbite machines. Rasheed Wallace was at it again after Detroit's loss last night.
No, I'm saying guaranteeing game 2. That's the bottom line. That's all I'm saying. They will not win game 2. And you heard that from me. Y'all print whatever the hell y'all want. Y'all put it front page, back page, middle of the page. They will not win game 2.
What makes you so confident, Rasheed?
They will not win game 2.
Did you feel like you let this one get away?
They will not win game 2.
And both teams will play hard. We are at halftime here. Hey, the guys, Doug and Mike, had talked about the importance of finishing out that quarter strong with a 13-point lead. Minnesota gave none of it back. In fact, increased it by 1. They're up 14 going to the third quarter.
is game number 2 of the Western Conference Final Series. You're looking at the exterior of the Target Center here in the Twin Cities. We welcome you back. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, the czar, Mike Fratello. A superb first half for the Timberwolves. And you look at the stat sheet, 15 assists on 17 field goals for Minnesota. Terrific job by the bench. In fact, they are our Gatorade X factor of this first half.
And Marv, that would be Derek Martin and Wally Szczerbiak. Those guys shot the ball exceptionally well. They moved the ball on offense, gave this team a great lift with Cassell going down after 43 seconds. Wally Szczerbiak stepped up, knocked down a couple jump shots, and then Derek Martin stepped in, made the nice plays, the dish, the transition play, the jump shots, had the big field goal at the end of the first half as the clock was winding down there. Just a shot up, and it counts. 20 points, 8 assists, only 1 turnover. Bench 24-8 in favor of Minnesota. 15-3 assist turnover. They played with desperation, but they did it in a poised fashion.
And those 3 turnovers were early on. They have been flawless most of the way. Here's a look at tonight's Jeep game summary.
I think the big thing is looking at the field goal percentage. They have the Lakers shooting just 40% from the floor in game 1. The Lakers shot 45% in game 1. The Lakers a 38-35 rebound advantage. Well, Minnesota has straightened that out. And points in the paint, that's because the Lakers are not getting any transition opportunities. And Shaq has only 4 points. No one else in the front line has scored.
All right, let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Omar, Phil Jackson told his team, hey guys, I know Minnesota played better than you did, but that's not the point, and that's not what I'm mad about. You got to play with any sense of urgency. They out-hustled you, and it looks to me like they definitely wanted this more than we did. Offensively, we got to get Shaq moving. We got to get the ball into him. Phil?
It's like Quavo Flip Saunders very happy with his team's effort in the first half. Said, hey, guys, all we have to simply do is duplicate that effort in the second half, continue to pressure the Lakers defensively, disrupting their offense. As far as Sam Cassell's status is concerned, it hasn't changed. He is still receiving treatment in the locker room. Mark?
All right, thanks, Sherry. Yes, Derek Martin starting the second half. Wolves have their biggest lead of the night, up by 16 points. Here is Malone. So Karl Malone with his first field goal. Karl in foul trouble in the first half. He's playing with 3 fouls. Minnesota knows very well how dangerous the Lakers have been in the third quarter. They saw that firsthand here on Friday night when they reeled off 11 straight at the end of the quarter to put the game away. Here's Sprewell, rebounded by George.
They also saw that San Antonio Spurs as a series as well, Marv. They dominated the Spurs in the third period in that series.
Well, they outscored San Antonio by, as you see, 50 points in the 3 quarters of that 6-game set. Here comes Garnett, 3-on-2. Sprewell for 3. Rebounded by O'Neal. Lakers with Kobe Bryant, Gary Payton in the backcourt. Kobe is fouled. No, it's an 8-second violation.
They just kind of fell asleep there, not realizing that the full court pressure extended by Minnesota was using time off the clock. By the time they secured the rebound, got it over to the guards to bring it up, suddenly the whistle. Kobe realizes that, I can't believe it, it's 8 seconds.
Yeah, he thought he was getting a call, and it's a rare 8-second call against the Lakers. Not getting it across that midcourt line. Hassel started the game, did not play much, went out early. Beautiful jump hook by Irvin Johnson, who is showing us an offensive repertoire. He now has 7 points.
Nice pass by Trenton Hassel. You don't normally see him play pick and roll, but he fed him nicely. Hassel very well rested. Only played 2 minutes in that first half with foul.
O'Neal draws the foul. It's been a very quiet night to this point for Shaq. 1 of 5 from the field, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 of 6 from the free throw stripe. Foul on Johnson, that's his 3rd.
I would think that Phil Jackson told his team at halftime, look, Shaquille O'Neal had 27 points, 18 rebounds in game 1. Throw him the ball in the post. If they double team him, have him kick it out and throw him the ball back in the post and let him get another touch. The Lakers have been very impatient early in this game, especially in that first half where they were launching jump shots.
Now, Doug, what has happened with Shaq's release at the free throw line? You saw 9 of 11 in game 1, and he is right back to where he was prior to that first game.
Well, you can see he's got his hands are so big. That time he gets a little rotation, but he doesn't have great flexibility in his wrist. So he almost shot puts the ball at the basket, and he goes through stretches where he'll make some, and then he'll get on those stretches where he misses 8 or 10 in a row.
Sprewell again from downtown. 15 points for Sprewell. That's his third 3.
And if you're Minnesota, you don't let up right now. You keep the pedal down, you keep the pressure up, and the tempo in your favor.
18-point Timberwolves lead. Payton stopped by Johnson. Shot clock down to 5. Here is Devin George. Rebounded by Urban Johnson. Nice outlet. Hassel handling. Garnett. Kobe Bryant has been the offense for the Lakers. He has 19 points. Bryant, that time Hassel made him change his shot. Malone. O'Neal, and a foul. It is on Minnesota.
Minnesota is challenging every shot. They're forcing the Lakers to put the ball on the floor. Kobe shot a contested shot. Malone was worried about an offensive foul. And then a great foul here by Urban Johnson not to allow Shaq to dunk the basketball. Don't let him see that ball go in the basket. Make him continue to struggle.
You talk about rhythm at the offensive end of the floor. The Lakers have absolutely none at all tonight. Starting from the beginning of the game, the pressure by Minnesota has taken him out of that.
And this is where Kobe has a tendency sometimes to really start freelancing when his team is struggling.
21 points for Kobe Bryant. Michael Olowokandi has checked in for Urban Johnson and picked up a 4th foul. Olowokandi played so well the other night, only 2 minutes in the first half. Sprewell. Payton met by Martin. Minnesota by 16 points. 4 minutes gone by in this third quarter. Payton. Olowokandi able to reach for it. Look out. Bryant with the steal. Bryant spinning his way. Oh, what a move by Kobe Bryant.
Talk about earning a shot. He certainly worked for that one. He had to steal it. He had to get past the first defender and then scoop it up against the bigger one in the end.
I think sometimes he plays basketball like it's gymnastics, degree of difficulty.
Sprewell coming up short on that 3-point attempt. Here's Bryant again. Flip Saunders wants to talk. Kobe Bryant leading the Lakers back. They're within 12 with 7 minutes and 12 seconds to play in this third quarter. A 6-0 run by the Lakers. All 6 points for Kobe Bryant.
Degree of difficulty, 10 on that one, and now coming right back in transition, picking his spots, weaving his way, throwing in the floater.
Welcome back to Minneapolis. The 2004 Western Conference Finals on TNT are brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Over 2,800 non-stop daily flights to 60 destinations all across the country. And by Jeep, the most respected, honored, and heroic 4x4s out there. Well, NASCAR returns to TNT this July. World's greatest drivers will tear up the tracks in search of the Nextel Cup Championship. For more information, log on to NASCAR.com. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Bizarre, Mike Fratello. Minnesota has led by as many as 18. It is now down to 12 because of the exploits of Kobe Bryant. He has been the Laker offense. Garnett over Malone. Rebounded by O'Neal.
Now in that timeout, Flip Saunders says, I better get some offense back on the court. So he's got Olowokandi, Zerbiak out there. Now Sprewell has to guard Kobe. Hassel's out of the game. This is best offensive team.
Bryant. Olowokandi could not handle. So the Lakers get another possession out of it. Malone down low against Garnett. And George has been quiet. Shot clock down to 8. Nice pass. Payton scores off the assist from Bryant.
We've seen, Doug, a few times now, the Lakers taking a page out of Minnesota's playbook. Some back picks on the shooter away from the ball when the ball is entered into the post area.
The Timberwolves lead is down to 10. They swarm all over Garnett. Zerbiak rejected by O'Neal. Intercepted by Garnett.
So when the Lakers score, we see Zerbiak teeing up this shot after the big steal.
Wally Zerbiak from downtown to end the 8-0 run by the Lakers.
Mark, to finish my point, when the Lakers score, they can get back and make it a half-court game. When they don't, it becomes a scatter game. That's why Minnesota has to keep up the defense just like this.
Good hands by Garnett.
Malone had slipped the screen. He was wide open. Kobe couldn't get the pass through. So two bad passes have cost him right now.
Eric Martin trying the three. Martin playing the point in place of the injured Sam Cassell. Opened up. It was a question mark, but he did start. Lasted 44 seconds. O'Neal is fouled. Combination of Martin and Olowokandi all over Shaq. And the way Shaq's shooting free throws, not a bad move.
You got to take them all. They've got 24-30 if you want to put Gary Trent out and let him play him for a little bit. But the one thing about Michael Olowokandi, he struggled mightily against Sacramento. In this quarter, he's had a turnover and fumbled a rebound. He's starting to get jittery. He's got to forget about that and play with some confidence. Otherwise, he can't be out there.
Shaq, 3 of 8 at the line.
Let's take a look at the difference in releases on the form of a shooter. Watch Kobe's release. That right wrist following through. Now watch Shaq's release. As Doug mentions, it's almost like a shot poke because of the lack of flexibility in that wrist. Not quite the same as Kobe's shot coming out.
And that's an air ball. Whoa.
And Doug, in fairness to Shaq, it goes back to an injury that he had with that wrist. That's the reason why he has that lack of flexibility.
Absolutely.
But that shot put style was working in game 1 as he hit 9 of 11 from the line. Olowokandi could not find anyone on the inbounds, and the T-Wolves forced to take a 20. Shaquille O'Neal hit his first 2 free throws tonight. He's 1 of his last 8, so 3 of 10 from the line.
Timing sometimes is everything in the game, and with LA getting it back to 10 points, securing the rebound, outletting the ball, a bad outlet pass stolen by Garnett results in a 3-pointer for Zerbiak. Then they come right back down, and Kobe turns it over again. So opportunities lost by the Lakers.
Minnesota Timberwolves looking to even up this series at 1 apiece. Game 3 will take place at Staples Center in Los Angeles Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time start right here on TNT. And then game number 4 Thursday in Los Angeles, also 9 o'clock start on TNT.
We talk about the Lakers' offensive efficiency. In game 1, they had 29 assists and only 8 turnovers. Tonight, 9 assists and 9 turnovers. Minnesota's pressure defense has bothered them.
61-48 T-Wolves. Zerbiak had nowhere to go. Try to get it to Olowokandi. Bryant being played by Sprewell. There's O'Neal. Martin comes away with it. Able to get it over to Serbiak.
When does Phil Jackson go back to Derek Fisher? Only 8 minutes in the first half. He played a superb game in game one. Devin George is really struggling.
Serbiak. Played by George. Good play to stop that shot, but Wally able to unleash. He pumped, held back, and then was able to drill it. He has 15 points. Minnesota leads by 15.
The lineup that you're talking about of Fisher coming in and Kobe moving over to the small forward position at least provides them with the opportunity to pick up some points from downtown behind the three-point line to try to get themselves back in this game.
George for three. Payton able to save it. Here's George, rejected by Oliver Candy. And a traveling violation on Malone.
I'm wondering what Devin George is thinking right now. He misses the three-point shot, comes inside, and he's going to try and shoot a soft jump hook over the top of a 7'1" Oliver Candy, and then Malone goes up, and George bumps into Karl Malone to force the turnover there.
He's the kind of player when he's making shots, it really affects him positively on one end of the floor. When he's not, he really struggles. I think Phil is going to have to look to go to his bench.
Devin George had that strong game 5 in San Antonio. Serbiak rebounded by Bryant.
Took a hard foul on that back. Remember playing with that back problem.
That's a three-pointer for Devin George. So Devin able to hang in. He comes right back. Devin played his college ball here in Minneapolis at Augsburg, a Division III school. Phil Jackson making the point earlier that he had one of his best games here in Minnesota a couple of years back. But there is the feeling he might be feeling the pressure here at home. Martin rebounded by Bryant. It's a 12-point game. T-Wolves have led by as many as 18. They're now up by 12. Bryant. Open shot for George. And a loose ball foul. It's on Minnesota. It is on Serbiak. That's a second. Now a timeout. 2:30. Third. Back to the Target Center. Minneapolis, Minnesota capacity crowd better than 19,000 on hand. As you look at Latrell Sprewell, he has led the T-Wolves to this 12-point lead. Kobe Bryant has been the offense for the Lakers. Here is Kobe. And rebounded by Oliver Miller, who is checked back in. So Garnett up front with Serbiak and Miller, Sprewell and Martin in the backcourt. Foul on Bryant. Lakers' first team foul.
When you look at what Phil Jackson has done now, he's put in what he feels like are his two best three-point shooters spotting up, Kareem Rush and Derek Fisher. So as Kobe penetrates, as we saw in game 1, those guys will spot up. If they double-team Shaq, they will look to spot up. They have their best shooting team on the floor now.
Shot clock down to 6. Garnett rebounded by Malone.
Since the half, the Lakers just 6 for 19 from the floor and 1 for 4 from the foul line. They're shooting 45% from the free throw line.
Bryant. Good job by O'Neal as he kept it alive. Shaq between Garnett and Miller was able to get a fingertip on it, kept it alive, and it cuts the Timberwolves lead down to 10.
Seems insignificant, but the last 120 this quarter is going to say a lot for the Lakers and their ability to come back here in the fourth quarter.
Garnett. Serbiak, the only Timberwolf to score over the last 7.5 minutes. Here is Rush for 3.
That's that spot up. It's the exact thing they did the other night. Penetrate, and Rush is standing right there. He knows exactly when the pass is coming. That's his spot. And Fisher is right down in the corner waiting for the next pass if that comes.
8-0 run by the Lakers. Kareem Rush hit a significant three in the third quarter when the Lakers knocked down 3 straight from downtown. Nice play. Sprewell on the pick and roll with Miller. 65-56, Minnesota as we come up on a half-minute remaining in the third.
Well, if you want Shaq to come up and show on the pick and roll, then you better rotate to his man when he starts rolling to the basket.
Good play by Miller, but Fisher is on it. Bryant from downtown. And Garnett able to keep it alive. Minnesota can hold for a final shot of this third quarter.
Lakers have a foul to give.
Down to 5 seconds. Good play by Malone. Garnett fires for 3. Yes! With 4/10 of a second remaining in this third quarter. Kevin Garnett from downtown. T-Wolves with a 68-56 lead after 3.
This is how close it is. He almost lost it for a turnover. Instead, Malone slipped. He couldn't get up in time. Garnett drills the three-pointer. He loves it. The crowd loves it.
This is 1/4 of a second that the Lakers don't like.
Yes. Minnesota with a 68-56 lead as we head to the fourth quarter. You're looking at downtown Minneapolis and a check of courtside here at the Target Center. That's music mogul Jimmy Jam, one of the world's most successful music producers. The former governor of the state of Minnesota, Jesse Van Turen. Hall of Famer, the Chief, Robert Parrish, and one-time Minnesota Vikings standout, Chris Carter. Off the steal, Sprewell. Met by Fisher. Fred Hoiberg has checked back in.
No point guard again now as Derek Martin rests. Can the Lakers put any pressure on this team?
With Saunders staying with Oliver Miller and Kevin Garnett up front. Notice that Derek Fisher has shed the headband, hit that game winner against the Spurs in Game 5 without the headband, and he decided to stay with this look.
He said he was sending his barber a little love.
Shot clock to 5. Bryant from way downtown.
They are totally out of sync. Minnesota scrambling, pressuring them. Lakers getting horrible shots at the basket right now. Very low percentage shots.
Garnett being played now by Medvedenko, spinning his way. T-Wolves have led by as many as 18 points. Fisher able to draw the foul.
I always talk so much about closing out quarters. In the first game, it was all Lakers as they were able to extend leads. Look tonight, Minnesota 8-2 in the first quarter, 13-5 in the second. The 2 big shots at the end of the third gave them a 5-0 run. That adds up to like a 23-7 spurt. And that's, again, I always talk so much about closing quarters. That's how you pick up a little distance as you go into timeouts.
Well, you had the buzzer shot to end the half, hits the rim and rolls in, and then the three-pointer to end that quarter. So things going their way. Very favorable evening for Minnesota in that regard.
Lakers now 10 of 23 at the line as Gary Trent making his return. We saw Shaquille O'Neal off the bench, replacing Karl Malone. And Mark Matson is back for the T-Wolves. They lead now by 11.
How much time can Flip Saunders buy with Kevin Garnett resting right now? I can tell you right now, maybe 2 or 3 baskets and he's back in this game. He can't let this lead slip away.
Serbiak being played by Rush. Oh, what a play by Madsen. Madsen getting to the rebound and then converting. He has 6 points.
Anytime he and Urban Johnson scores, what a plus for Minnesota.
Well, 6 for Madsen, 7 for Johnson, who has done it at both ends tonight. Rush. O'Neal had it knocked away, but a foul. Hoiberg came over to help out. Heavy traffic around Shaquille O'Neal, and Hoiberg called for the foul.
Madsen smart enough to understand that if he's got Shaquille way out past the top of the circle, he can out-hustle him to the rim, follows it up with the offensive rebound. He has his way of being a big contributor to this team.
O'Neal able to go glass over Madsen.
He just took it and turned and shot it right over the head of Madsen that time.
Well, he was leaned over so far, his head was about at his waist level.
Trent goes to the pull-up.
That's why he plays, because he can score a little bit. They have to guard him. With Madsen on the floor, you have to have somebody on the front line that will threaten the defense.
72-59, Minnesota. Shot clock down to 7. Shaq was double teamed and forced it. Back comes Serbiak. Kevin Garnett setting it out. I mentioned Doug Flip Saunders buying some time.
Good matchup here with Fisher and Sprewell. Try to take him in the post.
Sprewell. 17 for Latrell Sprewell. And it appears that the T-Wolves have been successful at buying time, with Garnett getting a nice rest.
You said take advantage of the mismatch. Sprewell goes right to him. Post Fisher shoots over the top to score 2.
How do we get award-winning taste and half the carbs of Bud Light? 149 years of American brewing know-how. Ah, the sweet taste of ingenuity. Great taste, less filling. Miller Lite. Good call.
Got athlete's foot? Think fast. Lamisil AT cures athlete's foot with just 1 week's use. If you use Tenactin or Lotrimin AF, you'll be treating for 4 long weeks. But 1 week with Lamisil AT keeps you athlete's foot free for 3 months. There's no better way to cure athlete's foot.
You're such a mystery.
If you knew who he was, would you tell me?
There are bigger things happening here than me and you. Tell everyone to hang on! She can never know the truth, because the ones I love will be the ones who pay. We'll see who's behind the mask.
The story continues June 30th. Rated PG-13.
Human life means nothing to these people.
There's an active cell in place.
I know about the subways.
Juliana Margulies, Dylan McDermott.
Our cell versus their cell. I like it.
The Grid. Coming this July exclusively on TNT. Why do...
8:44 remaining, 4th quarter, and the T-Wolves back up to a 15-point lead.
Let's go back to the point guard position. Last game, Martin did not play. In 22 minutes last game, only 3 rebounds, well, 5 this game. How about this? 4 turnovers last game for Sprewell. Just 1 turnover thus far in the game tonight. Pretty good job by those 3 point guards.
And we've received official word that Sam Cassell will not return with the back and the hip injury. Played the first 43 seconds, committed a foul, and re-aggravated the back injury. Look out. Gary Trent, Shaquille O'Neal having some words. Mark Madsen also got involved.
The one thing you don't want to do right now is get Shaq aggravated. You got him sort of quiet. Don't go over. I know you're trying to help your teammate, but just walk away from him. You know, Mark Madsen takes a good hard foul there. Little push. You don't want to incite Shaquille O'Neal. The guy can dominate the game.
Shaq will go to the line, and he is getting the full treatment from this crowd. Only 3 of 10 at the line. go over to Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Bob, during our pregame show, EJ mentioned that Shaq credited his improved free throw shooting in Game 1 to some 80-year-old man who made 3,000 in a row. That man was Dr. Tom Amberry, who's listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. His message to Shaq was, don't focus on the shot, but concentrate on the routine. Now, there's also guys been working with him this past week during those 5 days off in L.A. That is Bob Tate, who is Brian Russell's college coach. He's trying to get Shaq to put more bounce into his body. So unlike that shot put that Bar was talking about, he would have more arch on the shot and the shooter's touch.
Well, we've just been told that double technicals were handed out to Shaquille O'Neal and Gary Trent. All right, here's O'Neal, and you can see that he's picked it up.
Don't get Superman upset. You know, he was going along sort of quietly. Now they're going to go to him on every possession, and this is where you have to use all of your fouls. You can't let Shaq lay the ball in the basket. You got to make him shoot free throws as they try to dig themselves out of a 13-point hole.
Irvin Johnson has checked back in. He's replaced Trent, and now Shaq has hit 2 of his last 3. 12 points in all for Shaquille O'Neal, only 3 of 9 from the field, and 6 for 14 from the line.
Karl Malone out of the game right now. Kevin Garnett has got to go to work against Medvedenko. This is where they need him to get down that post and go to work.
Garnett off a series of moves right in the face of Slava Medvedenko.
And that time you would feel that he had a little bounce in his step that time. Just comes off the bench from resting. So minutes well used by Flip Saunders, and then brings him back in. You see Garnett elevate over the top, hit the big jumper.
17 points for Garnett. Rush.
Go right back to Garnett. If they double team him, you got Hoiberg, Zerbiak, and Sprewell on the perimeter. Play off then of your shooters.
All right, Garnett in the same spot. This time he's hooked by Medvedenko. And a technical foul.
Medvedenko at the end gave an extra little shove, a little push to Garnett after the whistle blew, and Garnett was trying to finish the shot off. Medvedenko shoved him. That was the tee.
Wally Zerbiak will shoot the technical. Points for Zerbiak.
You can see here, it's not even close to the swarming defense that the Lakers were playing in Game 1 on him. Right at the end, there's that shove, the left arm out. That's what the technical foul is all about. Fisher doesn't like it. Medvedenko, a little upset, has a few choice words.
The question I have is Medvedenko cannot play Garnett one-on-one. Why are you leaving him down there alone when you swarmed him in Game 1 and he struggled so much to score?
Well, it's been a different story this evening for Kevin Garnett. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. And the T-Wolves 14 of 16 at the line.
Well, it's important they get to that line in the third quarter. They did not shoot any free throws after shooting 14 in the first half. 20 made free throws in a game is sort of their magic number. They don't lose if they get 20 made field goals. Free throws, excuse me.
Phil Jackson has a 3-guard alignment with Fisher and Payton, Rush, Medvedenko. Oh, what a shot by Slava Medvedenko. The 24-second clock was down to 2. Able to hit on that the runner. There's Garnett right back. Garnett stepping around Medvedenko.
Look, if you go back to the open, we talked about how the Lakers kept him off balance. Kevin Garnett was trying to figure out where they were going to come from. Was it from behind him? Was it from the side? Was it from underneath? He's got it all figured out right now.
There's Payton shooting the 3. Johnson with the good box out. Minnesota up by 16, just under 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
You know, it's one thing to play with desperation, but you have to go with desperation. You have to throw some poise in there. Right now, Kevin Garnett is playing like an MVP.
The Lakers will take a timeout. Lakers cut it down to 12, an 8-2 run by Minnesota. Look at the crossover move by Garnett around Medvedenko.
He got a great little rest. He's come back with fresh legs, and he has that look in his eyes. We're going to LA 1-1.
It is game 2 of the Western Conference Final Series, being brought to you by Hyundai. When your car comes with America's best warranty, you win. Hyundai. By Coors Light. Unleash the Rocky Mountain cold taste of Coors Light. By Universal Pictures, The Chronicles of Riddick. In theaters June 11th. And by McDonald's. We're loving it. Welcome back to the Target Center. Marv Albert, Nazar, Mike Fratello, Doug Collins, Greg Sager, and Cheryl Miller.
Well, you build your defense to try to keep Shaquille O'Neal away from the basket and out of the paint. And Minnesota's done a nice job forcing him to spin away. Only 9 field goal attempts. You see them building the wall, getting it to his body. Taking the fouls when it's necessary. The frustration. Shaq has missed 8 free throws tonight. And again, after a 27-point first game 1 tonight, only 12, only 3 field goals. Minnesota, though, cannot let up. Kobe is back on the floor. You know the Lakers have one more push in them before this game is over.
Kobe Bryant and Karl Malone check back in. 5.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. 18-point Minnesota lead. Shot clock down to 5. It's down to 3. Malone, an air ball and a shot clock violation.
After game number 1, there was big talk about how Malone had outplayed Kevin Garnett, outscoring him 17-16, out-rebounding him 11-10. Well, Garnett has certainly dispelled any rumors that might have started. Right now, 22-2 advantage for Kevin Garnett.
And you see Sam Cassell back on the Timberwolves bench. He had been receiving treatment in the locker room. He is out the rest of the way. And his status for game 3 in LA on Tuesday night will be the major question, as it was coming into tonight. But the Timberwolves, starting Derek Martin, who's played well, have been able to take the play away from the Lakers as they vie to even up this series at 1. Just under 5 minutes remaining.
Double dribble in the backcourt by Kobe that time.
Here's Bryant for 3. Malone's pass broken up.
They're really out of sync. I mean, Minnesota's deflecting passes. And that assist-turnover ratio today for the Lakers, after the efficiency in game 1, not even close to being the same.
Deflected out. Last touch by Fisher. T-Wolves have Garnett, Johnson, and Szczerbiak up front. A lot of minutes for Wally Szczerbiak tonight. He's played 35 minutes, 16 points, 6 assists for Wally. He's played well. Shot clock down to 1. And a double technical, apparently. Karl Malone and Irvin Johnson getting involved, and Steve Javie with the call. So once again, double technicals. Earlier, Trent and O'Neal were hit with the double T.
Now that's big because there was 1 second on the shot clock. Minnesota's buried in the corner. They get a new 14 on the clock. So that really helps Minnesota on that possession. That gives them 13 more seconds here to get a shot.
They were down to 1 on the shot clock. Here's Garnett over Malone. Yes. A bounce-back performance for Kevin Garnett. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Bryant, Kobe Bryant, 27 points. Meanwhile, Kevin Garnett with 9 of the last 10 points for the T-Wolves.
Getting real chippy out here. Now it's Payton and Zerbiak. I don't know who this is going to be against. They bumped each other right across half court. The frustration now starting to set in. This is where cooler heads must prevail.
Zerbiak and Payton were nose to nose.
Well, watch as they go across half court right here. He bumps Fisher. I see what happens. Zerbiak bumped Fisher, and then Payton came over to say something to him.
A screen set to take the pressure off the ball handler. The screen a little bit out of its way, steps into the body. Payton comes over to defend his teammate.
Remember now, we saw the frustration in that Sacramento series against Minnesota when Peeler lost his cool, went up with an elbow to Kevin Garnett and was suspended for Game 7. You don't want any of that nonsense right now with this kind of stakes.
Personal foul on Zerbiak. Double technicals on Payton and Zerbiak. We've had 3 double technical scenarios, all in this fourth quarter. We're down to 3:25 to play. T-Wolves with an 84-66 lead.
Well, let's go back to the first half when Sprewell laid out Fisher with that backcourt screen. But Fisher's kind of feeling that he's had his shots tonight.
And it's been Latrell Sprewell going around to each of his teammates looking to cool things down. As if to say, we don't have to get involved in this situation.
You don't want to give the Lakers anything to get excited about here at the end of this game. Finish this game professionally and move on.
Here's Martin for 3. Yes! And has something to say to someone on the Laker bench. Derek Martin out of UCLA in his 9th NBA season, although it has been an up and down career.
He and Wally Zerbiak off the bench, 29 points and 13 assists.
That will count, and the foul on Johnson. So Malone with the bucket. He'll head to the line. Urban Johnson with number 5. Timeout called with just under 3 minutes to play in this fourth quarter. Oh, the jacket is on. He's ready. There's Ernie. He'll be coming along on Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai. Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Barkley, Magic Johnson, Steve Kerr following the Timberwolves and the Lakers. How about Derek Martin? 13 points, 6 assists, no turnovers.
I want to talk about why such a dominating performance by Minnesota tonight. Perhaps it could be after the draining game number 7 victory. They had basically one day to try and prepare and get ready for the Los Angeles Lakers. Meanwhile, LA had 5 days off in between their last game and the first one against Minnesota. So now here they are in game number 2, Minnesota. Things have had a chance to sink in. They've gotten a little bit more rest. That man has made a number of key adjustments from game 1 to game 2, and they're playing with much more energy tonight.
Down to 2:40 remaining in this fourth quarter, 87-69. T-Wolves on their way to evening the series at 1. And Martin took a shot, and that's a technical and an ejection.
Karl Malone had just got Derek Martin. Now he's been ejected from the game.
Derek Martin was walloped.
You see Malone fighting through the screen that time, winds up hitting Martin with his shoulder as he tries to go through the screen. They had a small man setting a pick on a big man. He made him pay the price.
Now, it happened with Derek Martin in the Sacramento series in Game 5. He set a back pick on Brad Miller, and that play, Brad Miller set the back pick. They ran into each other, they had a collision. Both of those guys were ejected. So again, you see the frustration. Minnesota has got to keep their cool here to finish this game.
That is called a flagrant foul 2, so 2 shots for Martin and possession.
And yes, and that's now if you're Minnesota, what you want to do, no turnovers. The only way to get yourself if you turn the ball over. Get the ball in, run the clock, get a shot up, and then get back on defense.
That's pretty impressive by Derek Martin, able to clear the cobwebs. go to the line, hit a couple of free throws.
Well, again, that's, Flip trusts him. They were together in the CBA. When he brought him in, he says, this guy will run my team. He won't turn the ball over. He doesn't have a turnover in this high-pressure game.
Another technical foul handed out. This time, it's Phil Jackson. The official, Bill Spooner, did not like what Phil had to say.
He may be changing this right now. They're talking right now, and he may rescind that technical foul right here on the spot. Let's see what comes out of this conversation by the three officials. He's trying to get it right, I think, which I give him credit for that. If he was wrong and heard a different voice.
It looked like he was pointing at Phil, but I'm wondering, did the Lakers just have 4 players on the court? Now, Brian Cook checks in.
Yeah, there's only 4 Lakers.
Here's your Lakers. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. And
that's what it was.
We're looking for number 5.
I think Phil feels like they've been playing 4 on 5 this entire game.
And they have rescinded the technical. But the Lakers had only 4 players out on the court. So the official blew his whistle. And now the call against Minnesota.
Well, they're going to tighten this game up. I mean, if you go in the post now, you get your arm up, it's going to be a foul. The referees have seen enough on both sides. They're not going to let anything happen at the end of this game.
Foul on Serbiak. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in the 4th. T-Wolves up by 20 points. Tate. Here's Cook. O'Neal.
Marvin, going back to that technical foul that was then rescinded, as you mentioned, perhaps the reason for that is because Phil Jackson may have said, hey, you didn't give me the time to put the player in. You put the ball in play. We did not have our 5th guy on the floor. That's probably what the officials talked about. That's why no technical foul.
Here's Serbiak. Johnson. And they have the new shot clock.
Under no circumstances would I drive to the basket right now. There's no way. I mean, because you're going to get your head taken off. I mean, shoot a jump shot and let the clock wind down.
Yes, this has developed into a very chippy contest between these 2 clubs.
Now, you got to know what's going on. You don't want to go in there and get drilled now taking a shot.
We have had 6 technical fouls called in this 4th quarter. That's a 24-second violation.
Garnett heard you. He
I'm
shot that
you,
jump shot.
I am not going in the lane right now.
Lakers take a timeout with 1:14 remaining in this 4th quarter. This series headed back to Southern California, tied at 1. Game 3 at Staples Tuesday night.
Minnesota by 18, 1:14 to go here in the game, and the play has been chippy all night long. It has picked up as the game has gone on, little by little. The hard fouls, the offensive fouls, the shoulders, guys falling to the floor, the extracurricular activity, the bumping, the scowling, the ejections. I mean, we've seen it all here. And if you're Minnesota right now, again, Mike, you've been in this situation as a coach. In that huddle, you go, look, guys, we can't do anything now to get ourselves suspended or something. And I think what you've seen with Phil Jackson, he's taking his starting team out. If I'm Flip Saunders, I do the same thing. I get Garnett out of the game, Sprewell out of the game, so nothing can happen. The only thing that can happen right now for Minnesota in the 1:14 is bad. Nothing good can happen if you leave these guys on the floor.
The Laker playoff franchise low for a playoff game, 71 points. That's where they are right now. They scored 71 on 2 occasions back in 1995. Here's Cook, rebounded by Garnett. Mentioned ejections with Karl Malone was cost a total of 7 technical fouls, all in the 4th quarter. Garnett played by Walton, and a traveling violation is called.
Well, here come the troops in now to get the guys off the floor that you were talking about. That's enough for Kevin Garnett. That's enough for Charles Sprewell. They go to the bench. The crowd responds, gives them a standing ovation, a well-deserved ovation for both of them.
Garnett, 24 points, 10 of 20 from the field, 11 rebounds. Sprewell, 17 points, 16 for Serbiak. Martin with 15. Here is Fisher, rebounded by Serbiak. And the T-Wolves can just hold on to the basketball. This will equal a playoff low in the history of the Laker franchise. 71 points. The T-Wolves with an 89-71 victory, and this series is tied at 1 as they head to Staples in LA for Game 3 on Tuesday night, and here on TNT starting at 9 o'clock Eastern time. That's the end of the Laker playoff win streak. They had won 5 straight, the 4 over San Antonio, and then Game 1 here on Friday night. Kobe Bryant with 27 points. Shaquille O'Neal, though, only 4 for 10 from the field and 6 of 14 at the line. He finished with 14 points, 16 rebounds. Derek Martin coming off the bench for the injured Sam Cassell did a splendid job, and he's with Cheryl Miller.
Derek, you didn't play at all in Game 1, but tonight you stayed ready and focused and really stepped up big for the team.
Sure, you know I love these opportunities to play like this. I'm just very thankful. I've been blessed with the opportunity to be a part of this team and play whenever I'm called upon. So I stayed ready and stayed focused and prepared every night like I was going to start. So fortunately, I came out and played well tonight.
Talk about the pressure defensively on the Lakers. It really seemed to bother them and take them out of the rhythm.
Well, the Lakers are a rhythm team, and if you can disrupt their rhythm, that gives you a chance to kind of get them in places where they're not accustomed to playing. So we just tried to do that, disrupt their rhythm a little bit, and then tried to get out and run.
Last series, it was Brad Miller. This series, Karl Malone. You need to stop setting those back picks.
I know, it's the big guys they take exception to me setting back picks, but that's okay. I'm going to keep going. It doesn't bother me. The physical play, I love it. It makes me focus, and I love to compete.
Congratulations to see you back in L.A.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's send it back to you, Mark.
All right, Derek Martin in his 9th NBA season, 33 years old, out of UCLA, spent much time in the CBA. One of his finest moments as a professional here tonight against the Los Angeles Lakers. Thanks to our producer, Scooter Bertino, our director, Renardo Lowe, associate director, Kalen Wright, production assistants, Jeff Paris and Tim McDermott, and our statistician, Brian Taylor. This series is tied at 1. We'll see you at Staples in LA on Tuesday night for game number 3 on TNT starting at 9 o'clock Eastern time. For the Czar, Mike Fratello, for Doug Collins, Craig Sager, and Cheryl Miller. Marv Albert saying good night from the Target Center in Minneapolis. You've been watching the 2004 NBA playoffs on TNT, the exclusive home of the Western Conference Finals. Coming up next, inside the NBA, and of all the post-game reaction from tonight's game. We bid you good night from the Twin Cities.